Welcome to Manifest Recordings, the official platform for the behind the scenes of every song from every Manifest artist. Hope you enjoy. Well, here we are to talk about Danger.
Yeah.
New song coming out. Well, not coming out. It's out now.
Yes.
It's out now. But so Ahsha, this is Ahsha. The best producer that I know, multiple degrees, like just a super kind person, well connected, like Ahsha.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. I'm happy to be here. I'm just like, this whole thing has been a long time coming, and everything that is kind of, accumulating a part of it has just been awesome. So I'm excited because Danger is a big part of the film. And so, yeah, I guess I should tell people what is this for, right?
Exactly.
So I went to Columbia College Chicago, and I had to do a thesis film for my graduation. And so I made a film called Campaign, which is about 5 friends who get stuck in a Dungeons and Dragons world and have to figure out through their dysfunctionality how to get out of it. And so it was interesting how it came about. The concept really just kind of happened. I was just in my room and I was like, I wonder what I could make. I wonder what I could do. And I actually had a different idea. And I was like, oh, this could be cool. But I felt like it was too sad. And so I was like, I want to make something fun and happy where people can be like, oh my goodness, this is just amazing to watch. And so I was like, what if, I take one of the games that I love playing, which is Dungeons and Dragons, and put some people in a room and like make them fight about it. And so that's how Campaign came out. And the first draft was rough, very rough. But as I got more into it, I felt like I started to really love it. And so next thing you know, we were getting ready to make it. And so I literally found you on a backstage and auditioned you, and you were actually one of the only people to audition for that role. So yeah, I picked this all-star cast. So I was like, wow, these people are really good. And yeah, it's a hit, honestly. I'm really loving it. And we screened it at Columbia Screening. We're going back and tweaking a few things now to make it festival ready. But it will be officially done in September, and we're going to do some festivals and then also do our own screening again. So look out for that, everyone.
I'll be there.
Yeah, hopefully my job, because we have a theater, will let me screen there. It would be nice.
Oh,
so
sweet.
Yeah, so that's how Campaign happened. And then I think one day I was like, you want to make the song for the credits? And you were like, yeah,
of course. Like what?
I don't even remember how I even actually. I think I was just like, I want a cool song, but I wanted it to represent like my love for hip hop and also my love for like this medieval style with like the violins and everything.
Yeah.
And you were like, I got you.
Yeah.
Sick.
Crazy. So you didn't know that I made music until I like showed you that one day on set, right?
Yeah, on set you like played songs and I was like, oh, like you're an artist and like you're talented. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I don't remember what I was doing, but one day I was like, I really want someone to create a song for my film. And I was like, I literally have an actor who makes music, does hip hop. And that was the biggest thing. I wanted a hip hop song specifically because that's my favorite. And I was like, let me ask you. And then I did. And you were like, yes, absolutely. And I was like, this is awesome. So yeah, I didn't realize until that day because you didn't told me in your audition. And we had talked about the film the entire time.
Right.
So,
yeah. Unless it comes up, like I'm not just like, hey guys, I'm a rapper. Just like let everybody know, unless it just kind of comes up. And I guess, I think it was when we were like out shooting the fight scene and stuff, like I think it was there. Like at the park.
Yes, it was at the park.
And I had just dropped FWB. And so I remember showing you like the video and stuff. I remember like showing Sean the video and Wow. I think we were
eating like burgers.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there and you like played the song and me and Sean were like, whoa, this is crazy. I didn't even know that about you. And yeah, I think that was one of those moments where I was like, I think this is where the world is aligning. Because in my mind, I wanted this film to be something that my fellow nerds could enjoy, but then someone who isn't into D&D could listen to it or see it and be like, okay, maybe this is cool. And so when we screened it, when your song came on, everyone was like super excited. I like listened to people like going, okay, like great, like look at this song. And a lot of people actually complimented the song afterwards and was like, wow, that's really cool.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, that's one of my actors. you know, so it was really cool how it
Yeah.
kind of all curated because I wasn't sure where I was gonna like be able to do that, you know, and I wasn't sure who I was gonna be able to choose to be a part of it. So
Yeah.
it was a dream come true. Yeah.
Man. I mean, for me too, like that was so sick to be there and watch. I mean, that was my first time like seeing my acting, period.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like I had been in a couple different projects, but like nothing had been released yet. I haven't been sent anything.
Mhm.
And so seeing that was really cool. And then when the credits came on and like heard the song, and when I was making it and like when I was playing it for people, I would paint that picture. I'm like, all right, so like the intro's going, and then all of a sudden like the bass kicks in and like the titles start rolling and then the credit rolls. Like I was like, it's gonna be beautiful.
No, yeah, he like the way my editor timed it, because I was like, hey, make sure the beginning of the song plays first and then you bring in the credits. And then he did it and he was like, this song is sick. And I was like, I know it is. And then I was telling people, I was like, listen to the lyrics, because the lyrics are actually about the film. Like he mentions people in the film. And so I played it for my dad, and my dad was like, oh, wow, this is sick, you know? And so I feel like a lot of people are really starting to look at it and see like, okay, this was intentional.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it was interesting because I was like, I felt bad giving you like, here's what you should put in it, you know? And but then you came back with these lyrics. How did you even come up with those?
I mean, that was part of the challenge. That was like the thing that I was excited to do. I was like, all right, I get to kind of go into a different world here. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's the project. Like that's what the project is. I need to, you know, provide something that has to do with the film. And so I was happy to you know, do whatever, mention the different places.
Yeah. Had you ever done something like that where someone was like, here's the song that I want and here's the things you need to include? You even remember when I was like, oh, I kind of want the beat to have like this medieval thing. Yeah. I feel like I was giving you so much information.
When the medieval thing, when like, cause that had to be the vibe of the song, you know what I'm saying? Like for the film, it just makes sense. And so I'm like, okay, like how are we gonna tackle this? Like what's gonna happen? And then I forget if I wanted to do like a medieval drill style or if I just found that through looking through medieval stuff. I don't remember. But I've always wanted to do like some hard hitting like drill stuff. Never released anything like it. And so it's cool to be able to dive in on a sound like that.
Yeah. The violins, like when they kick in, it's just like sick. It was really, I remember when you first sent it to me, I was like, wow, I am really listening to this.
Yeah.
And this is like happening.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Because when you think about the whole filming process, like, you know, for a bigger like film, obviously there would be a whole team of people who would have already worked on that, gotten that figured out, right? But then for this to be a short film and for a thesis, you know, it's a little different because I have to incorporate that information and all those little pieces. And I was like, where would I even find someone who would want to do that when I was first like writing the script? Because in my mind, I was like, I want that. But eventually it kind of happened. And I was like, okay, I could definitely see myself as a producer being like, okay, let's talk about the music side of this, you know? Yeah. And even with Zach, who is the composer for the film itself, you know, he asked me, he was like, oh, okay, so how do you want to do the credits? And I was like, well, I have this song that we're already working on, so we're just going to throw that in there. You don't have to worry about it. But even his film score, I think, meshes so well with going from that scene, the end of it, into your song. So I was like, it's all really just tying together.
Yeah. Shout out to Zach. Shout out to Zach.
He did his thing. He did do his thing. Zach actually, the score he made was just like, and that for me is the biggest part of the film. Like I could watch the film all day, but if I can hear the film, it's very important to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Especially like in that world, like that's a huge part of the world building, like I think.
Yeah.
You know?
It is. It's also like classical music is one of my favorite genres of all time. So I'm always in a film, like when I watch a movie, I'm always like, let me look up the film score. And some of my favorite movies have film scores that are just like out of this world. And so I'm like, I want mine to do the same thing. I want it to be something that people can feel and really experience. You know, I always talk to people about like Black Panther and how like they made a whole film score and then they made a whole rap album. Like stuff like that where people are thinking intentionally about the audience and being like, let me make this for these people, because I feel like, you know, as a Black nerd, I feel like I can still like hip hop and I can also still like Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. But now I'm infusing both of them and you're like, whoa, this is great. So yeah, it was a big deal for us. And everyone loves it. So thank you for making it.
Thank you for the opportunity and the guidance and helping get to the finished product.
Yeah. And now we're telling everyone that you should make songs for their films.
Hey, thank you. Because I'd love to make songs for everybody's films. So please hit me up. But you mentioned the Black Panther soundtrack. Mm-hmm. I think that that's super cool. And that's something that I definitely want to do at some point. Even if it's not, me making the album, like me curating the album. I think that stuff is so sick. And this was like the first time that I get to see like two worlds that I really enjoy, acting and the music crossover. And so that was cool too for me. You know what I'm saying? Question. Favorite part of the song?
The violins in the beginning.
Okay.
Like right in the beginning when those violins hit, it's because there was that bass piece in there, and then the violins, because I played violin. I don't know if I ever told you that, but I played violin. So violins are one of my favorite instruments. And if I hear a strong violin, I'm like, ooh, okay. So when the song first comes in, those violins are strong. They're just like really powerful. But then the bass follows up behind it, and it's just sick. And I think with the chorus, it goes super well. Like, I think everyone should listen to the song, obviously. But when you're listening to it, really experience it in, like, big speakers, headphones. Because I think the first time you sent it to me, I listened to it in my Beats headphones.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I need to hear the background.
Yeah.
And I was done. And then watching it on the big screen, I was even more done. Because as soon as those violins come in, it's sickening. It's like, it's actually really, like, curated nicely, because I think the violins add like this kind of trap beat to it, but it's still very medieval. Mm-hmm. And you're like, wait a minute, this is kind of fire.
Yeah.
I would say that's my favorite part of the song. And then the chorus.
Danger peeking through my window. We don't need no intro. Who is helping him? No, yeah. Danger to me doesn't win, no. Cause although I've been broke, fixed to find my kinfolk, yeah.
I do love the danger part. Like, I also think you naming it Danger was so interesting. I never asked you how you decided to name that.
Yeah, I mean, I based it off the chorus, like just because I said danger in it, but I don't know what made me want to go that direction. But I mean, there has to be something, like, because you want people to enjoy it outside of the film as well. You know what I'm saying? And so I think just tying it to a concept as simple as danger, fear, like people understand that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And having the chorus be more like less specific, you know what I'm saying? I think that really worked well. And then in the verses, like really go in and talking about the characters and that type of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, because I was like, interesting how he named it Danger. And I think I was telling someone that I was like thinking about the name of it and like how I felt about it. And I was like, I think a part of it for the film concept is like the fear of losing your friends and not being able to still enjoy those things. And then when your friends are in danger, you kind of realize like that's when you all have each other's backs the most, when things are actually going wrong versus when things are going right. So when you named it that, I was like, that's kind of cool. But then also, obviously, they're stuck in a D&D world, and there's all this danger that they have to like literally figure out, and they're not sure.
Yeah.
And so it was like kind of, when you named it, I was like, wow, I feel like you got it. You understood it 100%. And we were just like, this is what it could be. And I think a lot of people now are really interested in like, what is this backstory and like, where is it going?
Yeah.
So yeah, when you named it that, I was like, are we thinking the same things?
Just fit.
It did. I also think it just, danger is one of those things where I'm like, in the film, the danger is less about them being stuck in a world and more about them losing each other as a friend group. And so I think that was like that underlying message that I was trying to convey. And a lot of people are not really, I don't think we have a lot of films that explore dynamics, like relationships and how important they are. People do like romantic ones, and that's one thing. But like groups of friends that you grow up with, that you stick out with, that you go to college with, like what does that look like in 20 years when you're going to your class reunion or something like that, right? And so I'm always, as a filmmaker, I'm trying to think outside of just the basics. And I think you naming it Danger, we were like, ooh, this is beyond this, because it doesn't just, it's not just talking about the fear of being in this world and there's like a dragon.
Yeah.
Which there's not a real dragon. People keep thinking there's a real dragon. It's just a sound. We never had a dragon.
Yeah.
But that danger of like, if we don't get out here, we as a friend group will not make it. And then also we will be in actual danger.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Look at you.
So speaking of that, in the song I said, so how important is it to you to go through like those ups and downs with the same people and try to stick through it?
You know, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm an only child. So, growing up with friends is important to me. And I think you do need to, I think that relationships come and go, but I think those core ones are important. And so for me, it's super big that my friend group and I are together. Not just because like I don't have siblings, but like they become your family.
Yeah.
They become your people. You know, if I have kids, they don't have biological aunts and uncles, but those people are going to be people who will be those aunts and uncles who, if something happened to me, my kid would be protected, right? And so I think for me, that's the core thing, is thinking about longevity, right? Like, if something were to happen to me today, do I have friends who would come in and make sure that I was taken care of, or like make sure my film got put in a festival, or make sure that the work that I'm doing is being published, right? And so I think that's a big thing for me, is you have to go through pain with your friends. You do. You can't just, I feel like out of my friends, like we all love each other, but we've gone through stuff together. And I think that's helped us build our character with one another. I think it also has made us appreciate one another more, right? Because we don't all come from the same backgrounds. We don't all come from the same families, but we've somehow intertwined our lives together, you know? And I think for me, that's a big portion of it, is the people you meet, like long term, you don't realize who they could be for you in 20 years, right? Like me and you met last year, right?
Yeah.
Now we're doing podcasts together. We're doing music together. We have other projects coming up that we're working on. We've got projects that we just finished, right? But like, would you have said to yourself, in 5 years, I'm going to meet this person who's going to like put these things in place, and like, now I'm in this, and now I'm on this other film and making songs for this film, and now I'm being asked for this, and now people are in my messages, all because of being on Backstage, right?
Yeah.
Like, you would have never been able to say that because you're like, I don't really, who would I know to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so same thing for me. Like, I did not think I would be able to make a film, get this cast. Out of this cast, I would have you, I'd have Patrick, I'd have Raina, Selena, and Robert, and now I have this network of people who also are my friends, right? I can call you and be like, hey, you want to hang out next weekend? And we're like, cool, let's go do it, right? And so I think that longevity piece is big for me, because going through, and we went through pain on set. We did. And that's the first point of it, right? And so I think for me, the friendship piece is the idea that we can struggle together and still come out on top.
Yeah.
But like in 10 years, I want to be able to look at my kids and be like, so this is what I did. And this is like, you know, that person that comes to visit us on Christmas, that's who is a part of it. And that's how we know each other, right? Because my dad and my mom brought people into our lives that I was like, how do you actually know them?
Yeah.
Like, who are they to you? And some of my godfathers are my dad's fraternity brothers. Some of my godmoms are my mom's former coworkers and stuff like that, where you just build those friendships. So I think you do need to struggle to get there. I think that pain is important because it builds character, but it makes you appreciate one another way more. So
yeah. I think that that's also something that makes you a really good producer, is because of how you value those relationships, and you are always looking out for people. And you just have that relationship with them to where you're like, all right, they're going to look out for me, I'm looking out for them. Like we're cool.
Everyone's
like
got to eat.
Exactly.
Everyone has to eat.
Exactly.
You know, and I feel like a lot of, like, even going to Sean's film, literally that was so crazy.
Yeah. You called me.
I was
like 2 days before I had to pull up or something?
Like, hey, can you act in this film? Because we lost an actor. And you're like, I'm not doing nothing.
Yeah.
And literally, I think when Sean and I were talking about it, you know, we were sitting there and I was like, Sean, I think this could work. But he wasn't sure because it was so much going on, and we wanted him to make sure he felt good about any decisions he made.
Right.
And so when you came in and just killed it, I mean, I think everyone was like, we have a network we can reach out to in the event of an emergency.
Yeah.
And we made it. And his film looks awesome, which you also made music for.
Yeah.
Which is so cool that you were able to continue that. And like, at some point you should make an album just like of all the films you've worked on.
Real.
Literally just all of the songs that you've done for films.
Real.
But I just think it's so cool that even he was like, I want to ask you to make music for my film because of the vibe and also like the way you do music. I think that's just great. But see, now we can be that group. And then 10 years later, when I'm like, okay, I'm doing this project, who can I ask? I know who to call.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and I know Sean is the same way where he's like, we should just bring him in. And I'm like, yeah, we should. Like, this would be great. And the songs are sick. They really are sick. They're great.
Yeah.
And I feel like we were listening to your music on set and we were like, okay, you're great. But like now we're like, hold on. There's some differences here. Like the song you just dropped. I was like, oh my goodness. Also, the video is really cool, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know where you shot that, but I really love the outside.
Right down the street.
No way.
Right down
it
the
looks
street.
really cool. I saw the coloring and I was like, ooh, that's really nice.
Thank you.
You're killing it. And I think that's the biggest thing is like now this film and all the other projects we've worked on have created these friendships that are long lasting. I mean, even with the cast, like I know some of y'all have also hung out. Patrick, I see him all the time at his job, and I'm always just like, "What are you doing?" You know, and Raina, and it's just been awesome. Even Zach, who plays the messenger, he was a friend of mine before, and we lost our messenger prior to that, and I had to ask him to be a messenger. It's literally stuff like that, which it just becomes film anxiety. But you have people, and we just work with our people.
Man, I cannot imagine, like, I get stressed for music videos, and it's a 2-minute little thing, and it's based on performances mostly of me just rapping the song. I get worried about that. I cannot imagine, like, doing a short or, like, doing shows and, like, that type of stuff. Like, that's huge.
Being a film producer, in my opinion, is the best job, but also the most highest stressful job that I've ever done in my life. I feel like every day there's always a fire that I'm putting out, or every day there's something that's happening and we have to adjust and we have to switch. And you really have to be calm, but then you also have to know how to problem solve. It really is about problem solving. And so sometimes people throw stuff at me and I'm like, okay, what is going on? And then I kind of like have that moment and I'm like, okay, let's figure it out, you know? And so it is stressful. It is. And I think it takes time to really get used to being able to go in and say, okay, everyone calm down. We got this, right? You know, one of my films that I will never forget, I worked on Bashir's film as his producer for Sweetness to Lapse, which is currently in festivals. We lost our park. Because of some miscommunication, and we lost it the day before we were supposed to go there. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to be upset for about 10 minutes. And then after that, I have to figure out a park. And so I remembered that I shot at a park a summer before. And I was like, I wonder if that park's still available. We might can make it work. So I called the lady who owned that park. She remembered me. I was like, yeah, we need it for this day. I know this is so last minute. And she was like, girl, I remember you. You were so kind. You were so nice. Absolutely. Why don't you come and look at it tomorrow? Let me know if it works, and then we'll set up everything. Sent her a location agreement within like an hour of that conversation. She signed it, sent it back, uploaded it to our system. They signed it off, and we were golden.
Yep.
And that conversation happened at 11 a.m. And by 12, we were figuring it out, and we had a park. Stuff like that where you're like, how do you get a park in an hour after losing one? You know, and I've been doing this since 2015, so I've been working in this field, but it takes time. I have days where I'm like, why did I decide this? Why did I not stick with my chemistry degree? But I will never regret anything that I've done. And the work that I've been doing recently, it's just been fun, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, music videos, I'm like, I would love to go into that area and just be like, okay, cool, we're just going to do this and it's fine. Producing a film. And right now, I'm writing something that's a little bit bigger than a short. It's about 30-ish minutes.
Okay.
Which is still a short, but I'm starting to kind of be like, okay, can I be bigger? Budget-wise, obviously, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Even campaign cost a lot.
Yeah.
Which is sick. I can't get that money back ever in my life. But, you know, those things you just think about it and you're like, wow, this is a lot. And sometimes I'm just like, I just handle it. And I'm like, wow, I really did that. Like, I really got a park in an hour.
Yeah.
You know, we really got a new cast member in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
I think, I mean, and with producing and stuff, like, I feel like people are not thinking of, I wonder how she's going to get this done. They're just like, hey, I need this thing done.
Yeah.
But like, you always get it done though.
Yeah. And I have there's like, it's very rare that people see me like really stressed about it.
Yeah.
But that's always the thing in question about filmmakers is people don't really consider producers filmmakers But I am able to take a script and look at it and say, we're not going to be able to afford that.
Right.
We're not going to be able to do that. And here's why. And then here's an alternative to doing it so that you can still make it look good. But then, like in the scene, in the messenger scene, we couldn't afford a horse.
Yeah.
We were not going to have a horse. We couldn't afford a dragon. Where are we going to get that?
Yeah.
Right. And so one of the things I was like, let's do it in sound design where we hear the horse, we hear the dragon, and then we put the messenger on a little stool. He jumps off of it like he's dismounting from his horse.
Yeah.
And boom, that now looks like a horse scene.
Right.
And so I think that was one of the things where people were like, what? How are you going to? Because literally in my production meeting, the lady was like, so how are you going to get a horse? I was like, sound. And she was like, okay, how are you going to get a dragon? Sound,
There you go.
And I did spend a little bit too long playing around with dragon sounds. I just went on YouTube and was like sounds of dragons and listened to hours worth of it. So that's how it happens. Yeah.
Real. And hey, I mean, so long as you come up with something that everybody loves and get the like the core concepts you're going for, like that's what it's all about.
Yeah. So I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
What was it like being in the film and then making a song for the film? Like, what was that? What were you thinking as you were being a part of it?
It was like, so when I started working on the film, like I thought, if I did music for films and stuff like right now, like that'd be super cool, but I wasn't like expecting it or anything. And then so when the question came, I was stoked, you know what I'm saying? But then I also understood that it was going to be a challenge, you know what I'm saying? Because I have written from like other perspectives and stuff, but normally it's like other perspectives that like I know very well. And so getting the script and like diving into that and then being able to like study it and then knowing you and knowing where you kind of extracted the film from in your life, like that helped me to get in that headspace to figure out like where I should approach it from.
Yeah.
And so that was super fun because I never done anything like that. Like I'm normally just sitting there thinking, but this time I got to like read out. I'm like, okay, here's this.
Yeah.
All right, like this means this means this, and so, and then just formulate it into lyrics, make it rhyme, make it sound, what I think is cool,
Were you nervous? Like when you sent the first one, did you think I was like, oh, what if she doesn't like it?
I was extremely nervous, especially because I sent you a demo. And so I normally I only send demos to like, like my close friends and like the people that hear my music first.
Right.
And I get their first opinions, But like to send it out there for like in a professional sense for a project was like a little scary because I'm like, I'm out of key right here. Like I missed a word right there, But and then once I finally got to like do the final recording and give you the final product, I was like super excited. Like
yeah,
and I'm proud of how it came out. And then hearing it, hearing it in the theater, like it really brought it all together.
Yeah. I think hearing it on those big speakers, I was like, wow, we really did this. Like
Yeah.
I actually cried for a second. I was like, we did this. Because it's been a long time coming with the whole project as a whole. Like from day one when I wrote it to getting all the logistics figured out to shooting it.
Yeah.
Literally in October of last year.
Yeah.
And then going into post-production, figuring out all these elements. So when I heard it, I was like, we really made this film. We really did it. And I think that's one of the best moments as a producer is when you see the product and you're like, all the stuff we went through, it happened for a reason.
Yeah.
But now looking at it, it's gorgeous and it's beautiful. And this thing that we created that we all get to call ours and we were part of it, I never would have thought that you would act and then also make a song for it. That like was not, I was like, okay, we have these groups of people. But like seeing that flow, it's just honestly amazing. And it feels good to know that everyone had a hand in it.
Right.
Everyone played a role in it and was able to, be a part of it. Even my voice actor for the Sorcerer, he's a huge TikToker that's like famous for making these cool cat videos. He's done voiceover work for shows and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I'll do that for you.
Yeah.
And it sounds so sickening,
Yeah.
I feel like I've said that a lot on this, but I think in my mind I'm always like, wow, that's so sick, because it was really cool. And I think with Danger, what I loved about it most is that you did take my vision and put it in there, but it's still very much yours.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and I think that was really cool that you still were able to make it your own thing. And I'm glad that you're like, I want to release it and I want to do these things about it. Cause I'm like, yes, it's still your property. Like it's completely yours and you should use it and like make money off of it.
Yeah.
And like just shout me out when you're getting the Grammy.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm excited. You know, I'm going to shoot some short form content for it. You know, we're doing this. And yeah, because I take pride in this. Like this is another piece of work to me. You know, like here's a new thing that we've created together.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I'm so happy that like it's out now and people are listening to it and
people will see the film in September. It'll be out. We'll try to send it out so people can see where this all inspired from.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of the film? I never got to ask you that. Favorite scene, favorite moment, or your favorite line that you got to say?
Man. I mean, so the fight scene is like...
It's sick.
Like, so sick. It's so sick.
It's actually one of my most nervous moments, too. Because we were like, how are y'all going to do that?
I wanted to ask you about that because speaking of, you know, danger, peeking through my window,
right?
You know, I was wondering like, what are some of the biggest fears and stuff you had when approaching this project?
Oh my God.
Like stuff that you had to overcome.
I would say the first was having a cast of 5 people. I don't know if people know what it's like to have that big of a cast on a short, but that's a lot of people. I remember when I first wrote it, Benny's character was actually at home sick. And the other 4 characters were stuck in the D&D world trying to get back to him to go check on him. And I remember being like, I just feel like because that's too many characters, that's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
And then my advisor, or not even my advisor, I think a friend of mine, Max, was like, just bring them all into the same world. Let them all be there. So I was nervous about that because having that many people on set at a time, that many actors trying to give you all direction about what I was expecting, that's a lot. So that's one. Definitely the fight scene. I mean, the fight scene, it was more so because not everyone had done stunt coordination. Not everyone knew what that fight would look like. And we had to choreograph it within like 3 weeks. And shout out to Kati, the stunt coordinator. I mean, she and her team, phenomenal. Would work with them again anytime. But even doing that fight scene, you know, and working with my director Ahsha, like, and Tony, the DP, figuring out like what are these angles, like how are we going to get this together? What are the shots that we need to see? That was so insane. Because I didn't want anyone to get hurt.
Yeah.
If you watch it, you're like, are they really? And you're like, yeah. But I didn't want anyone to get hurt. I didn't want anything to happen. We used swords. So that was another thing. We had actual, like, I mean, they were fake prop weapons, but we had weapons on set that were being used. People were sword fighting. Even in your fight, you two aren't using like actual weapons.
Yeah.
But like Benny's character and Stazi's character are fighting with swords. And then Manny's character is fighting with a dagger. Like, that was insane. I even think the other danger that I felt, well, not danger, but the other thing that was probably like super nerve-wracking was we were shooting outside. And the weather, which, by the way, I'm so upset about because that was the clearest weekend and then it became super rainy and then the weekend after was literally nothing. But
that always happens. Anytime you want to film something outside, the weather's always awful.
Always. Yeah. And that was something I was like, I do not want them out here sick and getting cold and it's raining and it's pouring and then we have to move the film or shoot a different day and like the budget was moving all over the place and we had blocked those dates and people had taken off work and I was like, I can't waste people's time. So shooting outside is always one of those things I'm always like, oh, okay, how's this going to work? And I would say the last thing, because, you know, when you're working on a film and you're kind of figuring it out, you're always like, do we have the money to do this film? Mm-hmm. And from day one, it was always like, am I going to be able to afford this? I even moved the shoot dates because originally we were supposed to shoot in July. And then we were not going to be able to afford it. And it was going to be way more expensive. And so just having the funds. And shout out to everyone that donated to the film. Majority of the film was obviously my savings. And I will never see them again.
Yeah.
And it's okay. But
it's so insane to me that's how that works.
Yeah.
I never thought about it, but like I guess I just assumed that like the school is gonna help, majorly in that process. But no.
We had to pull out of our own savings, and a bunch of that came from that. And I'm still paying for post-production things right now. That's all out of my pocket. So the budget was probably like the top thing, because I was like, I need to feed these people every day. I have to have equipment for my DP. He has to have the equipment that can work well in these conditions. We need all these costumes because it is a Dungeons and Dragons film, and you can't really wear t-shirts.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think you all are in regular clothes for like maybe a minute of the film, and then the rest of it you're in costumes. And that costume design, shout out to Emma for the PD and production design. I had to give her a big budget. I was like, I have to give you a lot, because you have to have 5 costumes for the main characters, 2 costumes for our side characters, and then the assassins who are also in costume. That alone is like a bunch of outfits. And then all the production design she did in the tavern scene, even in the study room where you all are playing on the D&D board. Like, we had to buy all that. So the budget definitely is one of those things where I'm like, this is the one.
Yeah.
And once you see money come in, you're still like, I don't have enough, because I have to put that somewhere and someone's going to get that money. And I look at that budget every day as a template of making other budgets. And I'm like, wow, my film definitely cost $10,000.
Hey, you got it done. It looks great.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean... Yeah. No, it hurts. It hurts.
Knowing that at one point that was all available for me.
It's just right there. And now
I could have paid off a student loan. I could have bought a new apartment. I could have bought a car.
Yeah.
And like, not that I'm not grateful that I put it towards my film, but realizing like that is how much. And that was for a 19-minute short film.
Yeah.
Imagine if I wanted to shoot a feature.
Yeah.
Which like at some point I want to do. But now that 10,000 becomes like $1 million in seconds because of that. And so I think that, and also people think that it's just that part of the film, but people don't know we had to go into post.
Right.
We had to buy things. I had to pay my editor, buy rights to the music, right? We have to pay for applications to submit the film in festivals. There are other expenses that are coming out of that. And I'm still paying those now because we're still tweaking things and we're going to be submitting to festivals. So the budget is thing. But I will say, out of all of it, the fight scene was really cool to watch.
Yeah.
It was. I hope you all are not hurt, though. Because it looked painful. It did. It looked very painful.
It was so much fun.
Well, and you had someone jump on your back, which like... Yeah.
Man, they kept having me do that. And I was like, yo, I mean, I get it. But like... I can't just keep picking this person up over and over and over and over.
I felt so bad about, because I was like, but I don't think and I told you all there was a fight scene that would require some work, but I don't think I ever said, hey, someone's gonna jump on your back.
Yeah, no, I was fine.
Yeah. Even the swords are really heavy. And like I'm sorry.
No, all good. Thankfully, I was in prime physical condition at the time, so it worked out great.
Yeah,
it worked out great.
I hope the others felt the same, because I think even Selena's holding that sword. I was like, why did we give Selena the biggest sword?
Yeah,
I felt bad, but she looks great. She looks awesome.
Yeah,
and then I love that Raina's like, okay, I'm figuring out. But I don't know if you saw. Well, you did see it, but the magic that comes out of her hand, I was like, oh, I
thought that looked super good. Like I remember telling Raina, because you showed me a little bit on the Oreo set. You showed me a little bit, and then I saw Raina, and I was like, hey, I'm just letting you know, like you look pretty cool in the film. I'm just saying.
She did. And when Austin put the stuff in her hand, I was like, what? This is cool.
Yeah.
And so I remember being like, yeah, I kind of want it to be like yellow at some point, because I was like, I love the yellow in it. And I'm like, oh, this would be really cool.
Yeah.
And then the frame where she like moves her hand and it goes and freezes, I was like, oh, I did not expect that to actually be so cool. And it turned out really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to the editing team, because they are doing great work. And also the end, I think the credits looked great, but the campaign at the end with the fire coming out of it.
I love that.
I didn't even tell him to do that. He did it on his own. And I was like, thank you. Yeah. So it was definitely a journey. I think looking back, if I could do anything differently, probably ask people for more money. But everything else looked great. It turned out amazing. And my team they were phenomenal. I will never, ever say that I made that film by myself. It was 100% a team effort. Everyone that had a hand in it was amazing and very gracious with me. So, and I, again, to my cast, truly phenomenal. Because I did not think you all would go as hard as you did. I was like, maybe this can be fun and comedy, but you all really poured into it.
Yeah.
And even like your character and Nala, like that little feud that's in there that apparently everyone is now calling like a enemies to lovers situation, which I don't know why. But I think I do see it, and I think that you all were able to really play into it. So, but I think my favorite moment out of the whole film is the tavern scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I think it's just y'all are just sitting there figuring it out, but I think when you look at it the way it's shot, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that looks really cool too. I really like the way that the tavern scene looked.
Yeah. But what's your favorite scene though? That or at least when you were acting in it, what was the scene where you're like, I got this, I'm nailing this one?
I'm nailing this one. Man, I mean, I was nervous on the acting front for this project.
Yeah.
So I was pretty nervous for most of it. But I think, cause what was the last day was the opening scene, right?
Yeah. When y'all are in the study room.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing that one. It was fun to be able to do a little bit of ad-libbing with Raina. And yeah, I liked portraying that character in that moment. Yeah.
I do love when you're like, you have that line. Oh, in the scene where you all are meeting the older guy, Mr. Briggins.
Yeah.
When you're like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You like said it. And I remember when I wrote it, I was like, oh, I kind of want him to kind of be annoyed with it. And when you said it, and I was like, that is exactly how I wrote that. Like, it was perfectly curated. I went back not too recently and like read the script again and like looked at some of the lines and I was like, oh, this is so cringe. But then some of them are like, actually, this is really cool. And then the one where Raina says like, no amount of acts is like masking your personality. I was like, wow, that's so rude, but also such a good line. And people were laughing. They enjoyed it.
They did.
You know, or I think out of the characters though, Manny's character is actually my favorite because he's just like, I'm over this.
Yeah.
Please stop. Let us get out of here. And he's like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
You know? So I really love the way that's happening. Every character I think has a different piece of them that I'm like, I feel like even Stazi's character, she is very representative of like, just like me as a female being in spaces like D&D and how I can enjoy that, you know? And I think Benny's character, I think, is a character that is like the big me, right? It's the friend that wants all of their friends to be on the same page and we're okay and we've got this going. But also I'm like, I don't want to give up the things that we enjoyed as kids, you know? And so I think everyone's character starts to pull out. Your character, I think at first was like, I want this character to be mean, but I don't know. I don't think he was mean.
I don't think he was mean. I think, what's the word? Just a bit ignorant sometimes.
Yeah.
Not really fully grasping on the
it.
situation, you know?
And you played it well, though. You also made him seem a little bit less like that. It's just someone that's just trying to vibe versus someone that doesn't have it together.
Yeah.
But very much so when I wrote the character, I was like, he's going to be the mean person. Not mean in the sense of like, others don't like him. Mean is like, he's going to hold other people accountable. You're like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
We are not doing this. So why are you yelling at me?
Yeah.
So I'm proud that you were able to bring that to life, even though you're not like that at all.
Yeah. I mean, like when I was talking to Patrick, man, I forget the scene. Because I had to yell. I was like yelling at the side of his face.
Oh, that's in the beginning.
That's the beginning, right?
In the
and he's like zoned in on the game, and he's like focusing on that, and then that's when everything is about to like spiral.
Oh, that's when you say like you're not our RA anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like doing that is weird because like I love Patrick, and like after I did that, you know, he got up and we hugged. You know, like that's the vibe.
And then in Oreo, you also were kind of bullying him.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like,
that was the thing about
friends.
the screenings. I was like, you're in a lot of films where you're kind of yelling at your friend.
I'm not like that, guys. Like, I don't yell at my friends, I swear.
I don't know why it came out like that. It just happened.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, when you auditioned for campaign, Oreo was still in the works. Like that wasn't, But I remember thinking like, we are really typecasting right now. And literally Patrick is being casted as this friend that just like wants life to like live.
Yeah.
And then you're just being casted and you're like, shut up.
Yeah. Dummy.
I think in Oreo, you're way meaner to him.
Yeah.
You all have a full fight.
Yeah.
Like, and you like push each other.
Yeah.
I remember on set, I was like, no. And afterwards you were like, I'm so sorry.
I didn't mean it like that, man. It wasn't real. It wasn't real.
That's crazy.
I'm curious about the festival thing.
Yeah.
So what is that process like? Yeah. What's like the timeline on that sort of thing?
Yeah. So a lot of festivals have all these regulations of like the sizing and how long it should be and all that stuff. So the first thing you want to do is find out what festivals you want to submit to. So I have a list of 20 to 30 festivals that I found online. I know like what dates they usually have an application opening. What are the requirements? So I made that list first because spreadsheets are my jam. So out of that list, I have them grouped into like, what are festivals that like I could get into them, in a way like of knowing like, okay, I meet these basic requirements. Obviously something like Sundance, which has a way bigger audience, right? It's on the list for me to submit to it, but I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket. Mm-hmm. So you start out creating that list and figuring out when those dates are and what you need. Then you want to look at your film and say like, are these requirements being met? So I know that I'm submitting to a sci-fi fantasy festival, and a lot of it is like your film has to be about sci-fi fantasy. It has to be about this minutes long and stuff like that. Then I will go in and start submitting to their pages. And that process is like application fees, right? So you submit your film. You also submit what they call an EPK, which is an electronic press kit. And so with the film, I will give them this document that has like all of our bios. That's why I asked you all for your bios the other day.
Yeah.
Information about the film. Sometimes they may want stuff like all the contracts that came with the film. Like, because like for your song, I'll need to tell everybody that I like asked you to do it, and like we have a legal agreement that says like you are allowed to make this song for this film and I can use it to put in festivals, right?
Yeah.
So they want that because that music is technically a copyright for you.
Yeah.
So you have to have all that in there as well, and then hopefully you get accepted. If you get accepted, depending on where the film festival is, you go out there and you get to show your film, and they may put me on a panel. So it's a huge process.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily require the full team, but like some people may want my director to come with me and be a part of it. Some people may want me just to be it because I'm the one that's submitting it on my behalf for my thesis. So it really depends. And then the goal is that they screen in these festivals and people will see them in hopes that someone will reach out and say, hey, I saw your work. I would love to work with you or do something with you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the process. Right now, what I'm doing right now is we are taking the film, making a longer version, because I think right now it's about 19 minutes and I want to make it at least 20.
Okay.
So we're just taking it, adding a few things to give it that so that it can be festival ready. We're going to have to obviously do some tweaking to like the sound, how loud it's going to be, because every film festival has different requirements, but that's how that process looks, and it can go for a while. I know Bashir's film is still like curating at festivals, and we shot 2 summers ago. So like campaign will be running for a bit. And with that, I'm going to be doing some social media content where I am reintroducing the film to people, introducing them to the cast, talking about, the film itself, posting anything that we do press-wise about the film so that it's curating some business in hopes that people will be like, okay, what's your next project?
Yeah.
So, that's how that film festival timeline works. So the goal is to start submitting in September, which is why I want the film done by then. I want to use the summer to tweak it, make sure it's good. And then from September to September 2025, we're doing our first round. So,
That's so sweet. That's so
fun.
sweet. And so when it comes to, because they give out like, is it prize money, I guess?
Yeah.
And so is it a thing where there's different categories and stuff, and there's like the top 2 get this amount and this amount type of thing? Is that how that works?
Depending on the festival, sometimes there is a prize money that is won. Sometimes you just win the title and you get to put their little logo on your film trailer saying that, you were nominated for this. So I'm submitting to all kinds of festivals. I think the ones that I'm submitting to in terms of prizes, people always ask, like, what's that going to go towards? Just putting the film in more festivals, literally. It's just paying for that. And also helping if we do, like, campaign 2, or if I decide maybe I do want to shoot the first full pilot, which a lot of people don't know. The whole purpose of campaign is a proof of concept for a mini series that I actually want to do. So I want to do a either 5-episode miniseries or a 6-episode miniseries about the full thing. And it would start with where we are right now, which is getting into the game and figuring it out. And by the last episode, either you all make it or you don't. And so that's the goal, is to hopefully raise money to actually go shoot the pilot one day.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure if I want like a network to do it, or I might just do it as an indie project, and it can be a mini web series, or it can just exist somewhere else.
Yeah.
But that's the goal, is so that when I'm putting it in festivals, someone wants to invest in the project a little bit more. So yeah, we'll see how that happens.
Oh, that's awesome. It's so cool that you made this huge, big upfront investment in yourself and your career, and that's a huge portfolio piece. You know what I mean?
And I really want campaign to actually fully be done. Like, I think before I leave this earth, that is something where I'm like, this was an idea I had and I want to follow it through.
Yeah.
Obviously I have some other projects that I'm working on and I'm writing that I want to do, but campaign is like the baby. It's like the one that I'm like, okay, we could do this for low budget and it'll still look good. So I think the goal is to kind of figure out, what does that look like? Or how I was like, maybe I'll write a spinoff of it between 2 characters and see where that happens, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe in the first version, like I mentioned, Benny's character was sick. And so I think even reaching back to that and being like, do we still want to do that? Do we want to bring Benny into the space the whole time? So yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces to campaign. I'm not going to lie.
Do you prefer the creative or like the more logistical side of what you do with the producing and everything?
You know, a lot of people think I would like the logistical side because I'm very organized, but I actually really do love the creative aspect a lot more. I think someone giving me a piece and being like, is this going to work? And I can be like, yeah, we could actually get this shot in this way, but if we cheat it this way, it'll feel more authentic, right? And so I do love the creative side more. I feel like my brain is always turning and thinking about what is the most impossible thing I can do, and then how do I do it, right? And so, I think even in campaign, I was like, when I was writing it, the tavern scene, I wanted to kind of be like creatively creating a space that feels medieval, but is still focusing on the piece of like information that's being given in that moment of them getting from point A to point B. And so how do you just ask a bar shut down for a day, right? And so I think the logistics come after you have the crazy idea, but I enjoy that creative moment and being like, I know I could do that. I know I could get a bar and they let us use it and it looked like a tavern, and it did. So but I think people always put me in the bubble of the organizer because they're like, can you handle this paperwork and these things? Which is fine. I don't mind taking that off people's plates, but it is important to me that I'm still thinking about, what is this going to look like when we shoot it and we edit it and we show it. Creatively, I want people to feel like they're a part of this world. And I also wanted people to feel like there was a character in the film that could be them. Yeah. Like, I want you to be like, oh, that's me. I'm that person. So that's why I made 5 characters. And that was a creative decision that I was like, I should do that because I want people to be like, okay, I really resonate with that. So I like that part way more. It just allows you for more freedom. Whereas logistics, you're like, here's how much money we have, here's what we can do, and here's what we can't do. And I always hate being that person that has to be like, no, you can't have it. But also, realistically, we can't afford it. Yeah. And there were some things that I had in the script that I was like, we could do this. And then I was like, we can't. The fight scene originally, I think Tony and I were talking about it. It was going to be a 360 dolly where he was just going to like completely be on the dolly going around in circles and fighting. Yeah. But that was going to take so much time, more money. Yeah. Also, that would have required way more hands. And Tony was the one that was like, I think we could actually do it on handheld and it would look more realistic. That's a creative decision right there. So yeah, I do like the creative part. Yeah. But I also don't mind a spreadsheet. Like, I don't.
Real.
Excel's my friend.
You need both of them. You need both of them to get the project done.
You actually really do.
So
you can't have one without the other. And I think that's a big part of it is, as a producer, I'm thinking about many things at the same time. I'm not just thinking about one thing at the time. So I feel like I'm always creative, but it is followed up with like the logistics, you know? 'Cause someone's always like, so where are we going to get this from? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. And then I come back and we have it together. So,
that's similar to in the artist world. Like a lot of artists are really good at the creative part, and then not good at the things outside of that, like in the business world, like doing anything like that and trying to set up like proper businesses and register the copyrights and like all that sort of stuff.
And you do both though for your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is that like, juggling both?
Yeah, I enjoy both parts of it, but a lot of creatives don't like doing that part. But I think in this day and age, it's very important to have a grasp on both of them.
Yeah.
You know, if you're releasing music on your own, like you have to do the work to get it heard as well. You know what I'm saying? The label isn't there for you, dog.
Right.
You know?
And you promote like all your stuff and you shoot your videos and everything, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have the connections like that.
Yeah.
But I will say that I have been building more connections, and thanks to being on projects with you and stuff, I am looking to reach out to more filmmakers and try to get more creative when it comes to doing my social media content. So that's really my goal for the end of this year.
Yeah.
Is like reach out to all of the people that I've met and try to do cool creative things with them and not solely rely on me with the idea and then shooting it and then editing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's really exciting to hear, because I feel like a lot of filmmakers, like we do music videos all the time. And so that would be cool if you just had a team of people who also did that and like had that background so that you could focus on other things. I always love building a group of people where I'm like, can we do this together? Because I don't want to do all of this by myself.
Yeah.
So that's really good, because I know that handling all this right now, like that's insane that you do it right now. And you're just like, the fact that you even release a song on the 8th of each month, like, and you haven't missed a month.
Yeah, and I won't, guys. I promise.
Why did you choose the 8th, if you don't mind me asking?
My favorite number. Okay. And I don't know if I want to reveal yet, but yeah, I'm gonna save the other reason for a little bit later.
But your favorite number though?
Yeah, it's my favorite number. It's my favorite number, and so yeah, I chose that. I base it off of my friend whose studio we're in, Adriel. He drops on the 25th every month. And so I've seen that monthly release strategy work for him. And now it's working for me. And I like the consistency of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it also holds me accountable. Because
you have a deadline.
I can't miss it.
Yeah.
You know, before it's like, you know, do I want to drop the album this month? Do I want to drop a song? Like I can move it back. Like, oh, it's not perfect yet. I'm going to wait. Like, but now it doesn't matter if it's perfect or not. Like there's a song coming out on the 8th. Yeah. Like it's got to happen. I'm not going to miss it.
So cool.
But yeah, it's fun. And then doing the videos and then the podcast and the content and everything, you know, it's a lot. But like,
thanks for bringing danger into it.
Thank you for being here. And thank you for bringing me into danger, not actual danger, but the song.
The song.
and campaign and being on the project, you know?
It was fun. We had a great time.
Yeah.
And I felt like a lot of people enjoyed it. Everyone that I reached back out to was like, that set was so fun. We had a good time. The energy was amazing. The vibes were great. And we were just able to enjoy ourselves. And sometimes I still have a little moment where I'm like, oh, do I need to be on set today? But it's like, no. But I'm excited to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of when we shot in October. I want to hopefully use that week to do some crazy like social media stuff with, you know, our audience, and use that as a way to be like, maybe host a screening around that time and say like, a year ago today, we shot this film. Here it is. So I have a lot of ideas that I'm figuring out of like how we're going to get the film out there and push it to people. But I'm excited for the final product to be out there and for people to see it and really connect with it. The one that we showed at Columbia was pretty close to where we are. So we're just tweaking a few things, but campaign's coming out. I got a poster that I'm working on, and yeah, it's becoming real. Yeah. It is becoming real. We're going to be doing some social media stuff within the next couple of weeks of just like remarketing, rebranding, and I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, we have lots to do, and we've got a year to really push it out, and then hopefully we raise some money to shoot the pilot. Yeah. So, and hopefully all my actors are still around. Yeah. So that we can do the pilot. But yeah, I'm hoping for the vibes to really flow with campaign. And then that'll also bring everyone to my next project. So yeah. Which I don't know if you want to know what it is.
I mean, if you're willing to share on the air.
Yeah. I'm writing it right now. It's a sci-fi series-ish. It's a series, but the first thing is a pilot, and it's a short pilot. It's about this woman who's an astronaut, and she lands on a different planet, and the whole film in that moment is like her figuring out where she is, what happened to her family, because it's been 200 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's up my alley. I'll be watching that one.
Great. Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm not sure where I'm going with it right now, but I just wrote like a first draft and I'm like, okay. And it's right now it's in the form of a short. So it's about 20-ish pages. So I think I could definitely do it for about 20, 30 minutes or so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to shoot that sometime next year, or at least start next year.
Sweet.
And then the goal would be to do 4 episodes.
Okay.
So yeah. And I think that the way I'm writing it, it can be done like 4 episodes. Like we shoot a weekend per month.
Okay.
So episode 1 would be like 3 days in 1 weekend, and then so on and so forth. And so hopefully I can get together. And yeah, I've already started a draft. So there's some characters. I think there's only like 4 characters. So there's an agent, the girl, a doctor, and like a security guard. So I'll figure out where I can put you.
Yeah, please do.
Or make the music for it.
Or make the music. I'm so down for that.
It's in space. So like it's very futuristic, which will be pretty cool. So maybe I'll challenge you to make a futuristic song.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
No, I'm down. I mean, that's what I got. I want to say, anything you need me in, or if you need help, doing marketing stuff or campaign or whatever, like obviously I'm there. And then let me know when you're getting back into music management, okay? Just holler at me. I just like to know.
I don't know if I ever told you that I helped a lot of artists when I was in undergrad. I think I told you about that. Yeah. I have a pretty hand in. I was working as a president for a hip hop org, and we were doing some artist relation stuff. So, yeah, I think I might get it back into it, because I think what I would like to do is help people in their post-production process, link them to artists to do exactly this.
Yeah.
And so I think that is something that I'm like, I do like post-production a lot, and would love to kind of help people find the music portion, not just the score, but like what is the song that's playing during certain scenes, and maybe your credits. So yeah, and that's how Danger is for us. So yeah, I will absolutely let you know and bring you in, because I have a couple of projects that are looking for some people to be on their EPs. And yeah, and I know you're already busy, but like you love doing that. So I'm going to throw you in there. I actually just pitched somebody your name literally the other day. That's why I texted you
thank you.
I just told someone about you just in case you need to know.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you for this though. This is awesome. I'm so glad that you do this. I'm so glad you're like running this. And yeah, for campaign, as we're doing some marketing, I will definitely be reaching out to you, because I think we can use the song to kind of be in the background of some stuff. And I have a bunch of videos from on set, so I want to show people some of the behind the scenes work. There's just a lot to do for campaign. It's not done.
It's not done.
And it's going to continue to go. So
it's living and breathing and just going to keep growing.
And then we got to shoot more.
Yeah.
In hopes that we can get that. I really do hope that will happen in the next couple of years. But
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, but I'm also like moving, and I just got this new job, so I'm like I'm also planning a wedding, which I haven't even touched that yet.
Yeah.
But all these things, literally. And that's crazy, because I just realized something. I wasn't engaged during set.
Yeah.
Like that happened after.
Yeah. No, I remember, because I saw it on your social media.
Crazy. There were so many things that happened in the fall. I will never forget it all. But that was great. So, yeah.
Busy season.
Yeah, it's going to get busier. So be ready. I'm going to be reaching out to you.
Yup. Sounds good to me.
Cool. Well, thanks. I loved being here. This is awesome.
Thank you for coming on. Any social media you want to shout out? I'll drop it in the description.
Yeah. Follow me on Instagram at _Luna_sunshine_. Facebook is Ahsha Marie. And what else do I have? I think I have a Twitter, but like I'm barely on it. But it's called Palindrome AD. Palindrome is because my name is a palindrome. So I don't know if people know that when you'll see it. And then I'm on TikTok, but it's like not important. But it is. It's just book content. I'm just talking about books. I talk about filmmaking on it. So you can follow me on TikTok at Sunny D. And yeah, just like follow Campaign short film on Instagram. That's where we're going to be putting a lot of our content and doing some reposting. We did that teasing thing the other day where I was like, look at this song, and you were like, wow, I wonder what else I'm doing. I'm like, don't know. So that'll be great. But yeah, all those social handles, just follow me. I'm on LinkedIn and all that cool stuff. So I would love for people to connect with me, and hopefully if you also make music, you'd love to be in a film. So yeah,
real
that's what I do.
All right, thank you.
I'm so happy we did this. This is great.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Manifest Recordings. Make sure to follow us on social media at manifest_rec for updates on everything Manifest, and I will see you guys in the next one.